And the first is somebody who represents this university and its football program as effectively as anyone I've ever met. And before I go through all of the elements of that, let me just bring up Bryant Young.
Thank you, Jack.
How are you? Great to see you.
Great to see you as well.
Have a seat.
How's everybody doing this morning? Good. Not too early for you, right?
You know, I think we have a very promising defense this year on football, and its defensive line is 8 deep. And if this guy had eligibility left, he'd be the best defensive lineman we have right now.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like if I even bump into something, I'll fall apart.
Yeah, but he was, when he was here in '09 as a grad assistant, and they'd do drills, and he'd participate in the drills. I felt so bad for the players. It was not pretty. Well, welcome. We were supposed to have Bryant last year, and ran into some
God-awful weather.
Yeah, terrible weather. Couldn't get here. Couldn't fly in. We were going to honor him at the game and have him at Ask Jack, and we weren't able to do that. But instead, we took the opportunity to celebrate his induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his absence. What was that experience like for you?
Well, it was incredible. Just one, when you think about the body of work and all the hard decisions and sacrifices that had to be made over the course of, even here and then professional career over time, like you see all of it kind of come to fruition. Just, it was well worth it in terms of just the sacrifice, the hard work and all the things, even the low points. And it's those moments that really grow you. And so when you have that flashback and you're able to go through that moment of like, wow, you're being recognized for something you did on the field. But what struck me as I went through that moment, which was incredible, was that I was so grateful for the people that was in my life, I was surrounded by. And it was an awesome time to be able to celebrate with them and to be able to be there at that time and to go along that journey with some incredible people, parents, family, coaches, teammates, ownership. It was just an incredible experience that I'll never forget. And so a lot of credit goes to the people that have sharpened me in some shape, form, or fashion. And so I was just grateful to be able to share that moment with them as well.
I told this story last night. Go ahead. I told this story last night, and I embarrassed him then, and I'll embarrass him again. But we all use the phrase Notre Dame man. And recently I used it, and somebody said to me, what does that mean? You're always saying that. Tell me what it means. And I thought there in that instant, how do I do this? What do I say about it? And it became very, very obvious to me how I could do it. I said, watch Bryant Young's Hall of Fame induction ceremony speech. That defines it. And if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and do that today. It's easy to find. If you put his name in Google, it's the first thing that comes up because so many people have viewed it. And a remarkable testament to him. Focused on your family largely, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your family.
Well, it was important to me. That speech it was hard to get. I struggled getting to that particular topic in that talk for a lot of different reasons. I was going a traditional route and thinking, the more important people in my journey and just also telling some football stories. And the challenge was also that everything had to be encapsulated in 8 minutes, which was rare. This is the second year that they did this format. And so the challenge for me was to be able to honor and talk about my family, along with thanking the people that were important in my life. And my family is extremely important to me. My mom and dad, lost my mom 3 years ago. She wasn't able to share that memory, but I wanted to make sure that I honored her in a special way. And then my wife, for the incredible job that she's done. I always say that, when you look at coaching or playing, nobody does it alone. You always have a great support, and she's been an awesome support. And she's been there every step of the way. And I wanted to make sure that she was honored in the right way, and that she was recognized for the work that she did over the years and the sacrifices that she made for me and for our family. And so it was important for me to make sure that she was loved, that she was recognized, and that we saw her. I saw her in that moment, because the stage also belonged to her. And then to recognize my kids too, just they inspire me every day. We're always challenged. We grow from being a parent. We don't always have the answers, and it's always you're learning on the fly. And so, just to be able to share that moment with them, they have been my inspiration. So I wanted to make sure that I honored them. And then 6 kids, 3 girls, 3 boys, and we lost a son. And in 2016, and my struggle. I'm sorry. My struggle was before he passed, and he was on his deathbed. His mom and I were talking to him, and he was understanding where he was going, where the train was going, and his fear was that we would somehow forget about him. I'm sorry, I didn't expect this. And so I had this incredible opportunity to be able to recognize him and keep a promise that we made to him, that we would never, ever forget about him, and how special he was to us. And his time on earth, his 15 years on this earth, was one of the most richest experiences a kid can go through. And we were so grateful for his life, and just being able to be his parents. And so I made that promise and kept them. And just an awesome moment to be able to do that. So
thanks for remembering that. The challenge is now neither of us can talk. Your dad role has another phase in it. Now you're the dad of a recruit, a highly sought after recruit. What's that like?
That's been extremely, it's been fun, it's been challenging, it's been eye-opening. I'm just really excited for him, because, he came here, wanted a chance to come here in summer camp, and we're coming just to get an opportunity to hear a different voice, because I coach my son, and just try not to screw him up, but I welcome other voices, men voices, instructions in his life. And so we were coming here after his sophomore season, just to get better and to get work and to see where he compares to other guys around the country. And we did a one-day camp, and he came out and he put his best foot forward, and he really did a fantastic job. The coaches loved what they saw. He vibed well with Coach Washington, and you could just see the instruction that he was giving my son and the other young men there, and how he responded to him. And so he earned an offer, and that gave him encouragement and hope. And so recruiting started from there, and then he got a couple more after that. And in January of this past January, things really opened up, and he got a ton more offers. So recruiting has really been interesting. It's been eye-opening. Like selfishly, I want him to come here, and I just, he needs to understand and see it for himself. My experience, my wife is a graduate as well, and so my experience is my experience, and I had a phenomenal time. I came here as a young man, and I came here as a boy, and I left as a young man, and it helped me, it grew me. The relationships that I had that I forged over the years was incredible, and my rich time with my teammates, my family, and this place, the other people in this institution that make this institution what it is, such a special place. And so that meant a lot to me. So for him to understand what he has here, it has to make sense for him. And so having him here this weekend is special as well, because now he really gets to continue to get engrossed and understand what Notre Dame and the family is about, this institution, and what it can offer you, not just for 4 years, but for the rest of your life, for a 40-year decision. And that's what we're about. So he's been to some other schools. I will admit that as a parent, I want to be fair to him, that he gets the right information. And I and my wife ask the hard questions that he may not ask, but we ask him so that he can get the information. And so he's taken all that. He's a bright kid. He wants it. It's his. And he wants to achieve great things. So he has a chance to do it here. Although I went to school here, he can exceed what I've ever done here. And so he needs to understand that. He understands the great education and the people that are here that are for him. And I hope he makes the right decision.
So do we. Coach Young and player Young had a pretty good year, right?
Yeah. So this past season, we had a chance to play in the playoff game. We beat a team in a regular season that eventually won the state title. We worked our way we had some struggles during the season, but we got to the final game, the state final, and the team that we beat in the regular season, they beat us in the final. And so we had some unfortunate results this year, but we're going to keep fighting. We got some guys returning that I'm excited about, and we're going to go for it.
Well, that's great. You mentioned the decision your son has to make. What went into your decision when you chose to come to Notre Dame?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's several schools I went to, and this other school that was in Michigan was a close second. But the deciding factor for me was, even though Notre Dame I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago Heights, if anybody out there from Chicago Heights, whoop whoop. But it was an hour and a half away from home. And Notre Dame really could have been in Timbuktu, and I still would have went. And my deciding factors, when I came here, there was just this overwhelming sense of family here. Walking the campus, getting to have relations, or understand the coaches and build that relationship with the coaches. But when I got around the players and got a chance to, in particular, go to Nick Smith and Irv Smith's room, they weren't brothers, they were teammates, and they were like brothers. And then being around the other guys, there was just this calming feeling that I had that overcame me. And I felt like this was home because of the family atmosphere, the compassion that these guys had for one another. And just walking the campus and feeling this sense of belonging and welcoming. And so for me, that was the deciding factor. I knew about the education, great education. It was a great 40-year decision. And they were winning a lot of football games at the time. And I felt like I could, be here, and I just felt like I fit here. But that was a deciding factor for me, that it felt like family, and it continues to.
What are some of the memories that stand out from your time here, other than meeting your wife, of course?
Yeah, that's one of them. God bless, man. She's my better half for sure. She looks way better than me, for sure, and she does a great job for her family. Memory. One of my biggest memories is in my senior year, this incredible game that we had, 1 versus 2, and the build-up leading up to that game versus FSU. We didn't think, as we watched them on film, that we could beat this team that was athletic, they were fast, and they just had a lot of playmakers on offense and defense. And we were a pretty good team as well, but we probably didn't match them yet at this particular time. But we had incredible leaders on our team. And I tell you what, our coach Lou Holtz at the time, did a great job just instilling in us, encouraging us, and building us up during the course of the week. And then we're taking this message and we're believing it. By the end of the week, we believed that we could run through a brick wall. And at first, we didn't think we could do it, but then the week, it was like, all right, bring them on. We knew we were going to win the game. It was just a matter about how much and how many points we're going to win by. And so beating FSU in one of these game of the century games, and the first game day event that ever happened on campus, history was made that day. So we won that game. And then unfortunately, the next week we lost to Boston College. Yeah, so those two games stand out.
Yeah, both
I
are
went from the
memories.
highest to the highest. I mean, it was like we won the national championship, but we didn't. But we had a mental breakdown. We didn't focus, and they played a great game, not to take anything away from them. And we didn't make enough plays. We lost, and it just felt like one of the lowest moments.
7th pick in the first round by an organization with a lot of Notre Dame connections, but about as far away from your Midwest roots as you could be. What was it like becoming part of the 49ers family?
Wow, it was another opportunity of going to a franchise that felt like family. Well, ironically, my junior year, I was a business major. I got my degree in marketing. So my junior year, we're taking these classes in this new building, this state-of-the-art building called the Barlow Center. And going into my junior year, I had no idea what my future held in football and pros, and I didn't see it that way. I was just kind of stuck in the moment of doing what was important. But and then knowing about the Niners, like they were a great team. Joe Montana was there, Jerry Rice, Roger Craig. You had all these incredible playmakers, and just the championships they had already won. Had no idea, just the coincidence of being in that building and how things played out. And I became a 49er fan watching the Bears beat up on them and then them turning the corner and then beating up on the Bears. It's like, okay, I like this 49er team. So I was a fan. But to be able to get drafted by a team at where I got picked is rare. And I just felt like I hit the lottery. Not that, getting picked there's a lot of hard work and sacrifice, and it's not luck, but to get to that spot and for them to be at that spot and me to go to that franchise, it felt like it was it was a lottery for me. It was a lottery win. Mr. Barlow and the family did an incredible job just building this top-down tradition of making people feel welcome. And so when I went there, I wanted to make sure that I did my part for an organization that really cared deeply for its players. And it was just an awesome time, great experience, and I wore the brand proudly and was honored to have played there for 14 years.
Well, you certainly honored them with the way you played and the way you represented them. If I'm not mistaken, the highest award they give, I forget the name of it, but you won it 8 times during your career there for representing the franchise in the way they want it represented. So that's great.